Hello there guys, a very warm welcome to all of you to another Explain 11 video. We are currently situated at Minuteman Airfield in the United States, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Reality Expansion Pack for the Carenado T210M Centurion. If you have been a subscriber to the Q8 Pilot channel long enough, you'll probably know that I'm not really a big fan of Carenado aircraft with very few exceptions. With that said, the Reality Expansion Pack, when coupled with any aircraft, takes it to the next level in terms of realism and immersion. REP allows you to experience the aircraft like a real pilot does, and it does this very well. The differences between reality and simulation, of course, is always there, but the difference is very subtle. In this video, we are going to be taking a brief look at the aircraft interior and exterior modeling and textures, and then we're going to jump into the Reality Expansion Pack to look at its features, and then take the aircraft for a short flight to put REP to the test. High-quality visual models is synonymous with Carenado aircraft. Carenado produces very stunning visual models, very detailed textures. Application of PBR on this particular aircraft is done quite well. It gives the aircraft a very realistic and immersive look. We can say the same good things about this aircraft's interior as the exterior. As you can see, the 3D cockpit has been modeled with 4K textures, very crisp textures and very high quality. The reflective material, again, such as the glass and the panels here, are done very well, and everything else is visually stunning. If you look at the leather seats here and all the details, really very detailed textures. Again, this is something that we are very familiar with in Carenado aircraft, so it is kind of expected now from Carenado to produce visually stunning models. And this aircraft, of course, is not an exception. I don't want to spend too much time on the interior and exterior. I think you guys get the idea and the quality of the final finish in terms of the visuals. I do want to turn to Reality Expansion Pack now and delve into its features. Once you have successfully installed the Reality Expansion Pack, you will be presented with a control panel on the left side of the screen. It contains a knee board, mass and balance, a walk around, tow, a maintenance report, and the automatic engine start wizard. The knee board contains the normal checklist, emergency procedures, as well as the reference speeds. The mass and balance is where you go to set up your aircraft passengers and baggage as well as fuel. It gives you some very important information about the center of gravity to make sure that you have a safe flight. The walk-around feature allows you to do a full walk-around as real pilots would do. This is a very important step to ensure that the aircraft is flight-worthy. Amongst many other things, you can check the elevator for correct operation, you can check the rudder, you can check the fuel quantity and color to make sure everything's okay and there are no water contaminations. We haven't done the entire walk around in the interest of time, but I'm very sure that you get the idea. The tow feature allows you to tow the aircraft forward, backwards, left, and right using your joystick, which is a nice feature. The maintenance report gives you access to very important information about the aircraft condition and its components. And with REP installed, you really have to take very good care of your aircraft as you would in real life. The level of simulation in some areas is very deep. For example, if we look here at the oil types, this particular oil type is designed for winter operations, and if you actually use it during summer, the aircraft's performance will be less than efficient. As you can see here, we have the cylinders, we have the compression in the cylinders. Oil fluid, this is the type of oil I have installed right now, just clean. I have 50 hours before a change is required. Oil pump is okay, starter is okay, electrical fuel pump, everything checks fine. You can change the spark plugs as well. On the second page, as you can see, there is a fan here that we can start for winter operations. Currently, we don't need to do this. It's 12 degrees Celsius, so we're good to go. And we have the cold fairings mounted. You also have access to the current charge of your battery, and the battery will drain very quickly if you're unable to follow the proper procedures to power up the aircraft As you can see, all our avionics check okay. We can also look at the oxygen system status in REP. Currently we have a full tank, and this is the estimated oxygen time for the number of passengers on board. With REP, you can also check your landing gear and braking system status, and trust me, if you do some hard landings or if you don't properly operate the aircraft on the ground, you will wear your struts, your tires, and the braking system. The time has come for us to put the Reality Expansion Pack to the test. What we're going to do is we're going to power up the aircraft, and then we're going to take it for a short flight over to Boston. The airport is within a short proximity from our current location, but it should be enough for us to test REP. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to hide the yoke here so that we can see what we're doing. And I have read the aircraft checklist. I'm not sure I can remember all of it now, but first thing first, battery is on, beacon is on, and then we're going to head over here and select the fuel tank, and then we're going to put the mixture on rich, prop on rich, and throttle full forward, and then we're going to turn on the auxiliary fuel pump. Alright, and then we're going to bring this back, and let's see here. Right, we have a good start. Alternator is on. And we can turn on the nav lights now. Taxi. And we need to lean the mixture a bit here. And now we can turn on the avionics.
243 Quebec, level 80 on heading 180.
24 X-ray Québec, bonjour Adam.
So as you can see, the startup procedure is quite simple for the Centurion, and everything is looking okay now. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for the temperature to rise a bit, and then we're going to taxi over to the runway and take off. So let's go ahead and create a short flight plan. We're going to head over here and go to Goodway. Goodway 5.5 has been released. So what we're going to do is we're going to select our current location, which is 6 Bravo 6. And we're going to head to Boston. And we're going to say both airways. And we're going to say Citizen Stars. Well, we don't really need Citizen Stars, but that's okay. Create. And this is what we have. This is the fix. This is the airport. And we're just going to come here and say FMS, GPS, GNS with airports. And now the flight is here. As you can see, it's a very short flight from our current location to Boston. We're gonna head over to the right once we start taxiing, head over to the runway. We're gonna take off and then intercept our flight path. Alright, we are now ready to taxi. I'm gonna go ahead and release the parking brake. I'm very pleased that Orbex has decided to join the X-Plane world. There are a few airports now available, and everybody is anticipating True Earth. My good friend Thomas Rasmussen has done a preview of True Earth. It's still in beta or alpha, I'm not sure. But really, if you haven't watched his video, I recommend that you go to his channel and take a look at the beautiful video that he's done of Orbex True Earth, coming soon to the X-Plane community. Alright, let's make a final stop here before we enter the runway. Right, that's good enough. Let's set the parking brake. Alright, let's take a look here. Mixture is lean. Landing light on, taxi light is off, strobe can go on, and everything else is looking okay to me. Alright, let's go ahead and set the flaps. Flaps 10 for departure. And let's release the parking brake. We're going to go to mixture full ridge now for takeoff. And let's get lined up here. Alright, and we're ready to go now. I'm going to start applying power, and our rotation speed is 75 knots. It's close enough. Rotate. A little bit of wind here. Alright, and we're going to set the parking brake, and then landing gear is going up. And when we can now retract the flaps. And we're going to begin our turn now. Actually, what I'll do is I'm going to set up the autopilot. I'm going to make sure that this is set to GPS. And now we can engage the autopilot. Nav mode. Vertical speed is set at 900 feet per minute, which is okay. As you can see, the aircraft is now turning. Now we need to achieve about 2,500 RPM. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce prop here a bit. There we go, 2,500 RPM. Right, we're going to lean the mixture now. And we're going to maintain about 2,500 RPM for the remainder of our flight. My thoughts on the Reality Expansion Pack is that really it has come a long way. And the nice thing about SimCoders is that they are very open to constructive critique. They take really the feedback from the community and they enhance Reality Expansion Pack based on that feedback, which is very commendable. Alright, so at this point here, what I'm going to do is we are not very far from Boston. That's Boston there. We're about 16 nautical miles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to heading select mode. I'm going to set the... There we go, right here. And let's go to heading select. Welcome back, guys. We are approaching Boston now, and momentarily we're going to disconnect the autopilot and hand fly the aircraft into Boston. Now, one thing we need to remember after lowering the landing gear is to release the parking brake. All's looking good at the moment. Alright, at this point I'm going to go ahead and disengage the autopilot. And we're going to take over the aircraft and hand fly it. I'm going to start reducing our speed. And that's the runway to our right now. So we're going to start making a turn now to the runway. And we're going to begin our descent. Okay, and let's go ahead now and put the mixture back on full ridge, prop on full ridge. Alright, and at this point what we're going to do is we're going to extend the first degree of flaps. That will help us reduce our speed. A little bit of wind here as we come into land. 90 knots, I think it's safe to lower the landing gear now. Let's just make sure the aircraft is in a straight line. There we go. Landing gear is coming down. And let's just make sure that the parking brake is released. And we're going to go to 2nd degree flaps now. And we're going to maintain about 75, between 75 and 80 knots for our approach and landing. Definitely strong crosswinds here as we come into land. And flaps full. And touchdown. My final remarks are as follows. The Carenado CT210M Centurion isn't worth buying on its own, but if you're up to the challenge and you want to experience the aircraft as real pilots would, I highly recommend that you get this aircraft with the Reality Expansion Pack by SimCoders. The flight model, the way the aircraft flies, handles, behaves, the tear and wear, all the realistic behavior that REP brings to this aircraft makes it worthwhile the investment in both the aircraft and the Reality Expansion Pack, but not the aircraft alone. This brings us to the conclusion of our video today. I hope that I was able to provide you with insightful and useful information about the Reality Expansion Pack by SimCoders. If you have any questions, as usual, please do post them in the comments section below. Until next time, please take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.